This video will show how to create the following two small Dart programs. First, creating a new Dart file in an empty directory, implementing it with a trivial program, printing the classical phrase "Hello World" to the screen. Then the Hello World program will be replaced with another program which receives input argument from the command line and also receives keyboard input from the user. This video is part of at least one playlist showing how to do the above with different programming languages. There should be a link to that playlist in the description below. Prerequisites. You, the viewer of this video, are assumed to have some skills in at least some programming language. I will not explain basic concepts such as what is a variable or what is an array or what is a for loop. Even if you have never written source code with Dart, you are assumed to be able to understand, for example, what this Dart code below does. In this video, I am using Windows 10, and I start by showing which version of Dart I have installed. I have installed Dart by installing Flutter version 2.8. Dart 2.15 is the version of Dart that came with the installation of Flutter 2.8. The Windows command dir shows that I am starting from an empty directory. Now I create a new directory called Dart with the Windows command md. Then I navigate into the new directory with cd Dart. Then I start Visual Studio Code by typing code and a dot, which is the path to the current directory. When Visual Studio Code has started, I create a new Dart file, arguments_inputs.dart, in the new Dart directory. Then I implement the initial trivial Hello World program by creating a void main function. In the main function, I call the print function to print text on the screen. Now I am showing, with the command dir, that the Dart file has been created in the Dart directory. The program can now be executed by typing Dart and then the file name. As you can see, the program now shows Hello World, just as expected. Now I will replace the initial Hello World implementation with a program which will receive and print arguments from the command line. And the program will also ask the user to enter the name and will then print to the screen what the user typed. For this purpose, I have prepared some pseudocode that I will paste into the program, but in comments because of course it would not be possible to execute. Then I will modify the code by changing it to Dart code that can be executed. The program arguments can be received to the main function as a list of strings. Then you can iterate the string arguments with a for loop. Inside the for loop, program arguments are printed to the screen with a print function. The string printed inside the loop is created with the so-called string interpolation with $sign followed by a variable name, which means that the content of the variable will be part of the string. Here I am also showing an alternative way to iterate through a list with a for loop that uses an index variable and the list property length, but I will now return to instead use the previous type of for loop. In the for loop, you can add the keyword final before string, and then you can also delete string and only use final. An alternative to final is to use var if it is a variable that changes. But because it doesn't change here, it is more appropriate to use final instead. To receive input through the keyboard, you can use stdin. And to be able to do so, I import the library dart::io. Then I can use the stdin class method readLine_sync. I am also printing to the screen the text to be displayed at the input prompt with the print function. The readLine_sync method returns the name entered by the user and is then written to the screen by using the print function and string interpolation with the variable after a $sign. But now I will actually change all usages of the print function to instead use stdout together with the methods write or writeln. One reason for this is that it looks more consequent to use stdout when I am using stdin in this program. But the main advantage with stdout is that you can easily choose to print text including a line break at the end. I do not want a line break before the input prompt, where the stdin method is used, and therefore I am using the write method without ln at the end. But in the other two printings to the screen, I use the write ln method to include the line break at the end. When I execute the program with 3 arguments, you can see that the program works as expected. The 3 arguments are iterated and printed to the screen, and then the program asks for your name, and when the user enters the name, it is printed on the screen together with hello as prefix.